Greetings. This is Peggy Miller, and this is the Medical Herbalism podcast series. And today I am beginning the overview section, which will probably be about 5 parts long. Each section will be 15 minutes long, and the overview will be truly an overview. I'm going to try to just touch on most of the points, the major issues, kind of like an outline in a book. This is going to just do an outline for you as to what will be in the individual segments as I walk through those. So I'm Peggy Miller, Highland Winds LLC. I'm a medical herbalist, and I'm here today to do the first part of the overview. So, hope you're having a good day, and just sit back and 15 minutes of information, okay? Today, I want to just touch on the yin and the yang. In the overview, I will be talking about sun, water, air, heat, moisture, ethos, and ki, dampness, blood. These are different ways of dividing up. There's the yin and the yang, which has to do from a Chinese herbal standpoint as the very basic building blocks of the physical system. In Ayurvedic medicine, herbal medicine, the Tridosha is the individual. They go at it from a 3-way standpoint rather than yin and yang. This is a very simplified introduction. There are many subgroups to Chinese herbalism, but basically yin and yang are the basic building blocks. And Ayurvedic, the Tridosha, Kapha, Vata, and Pitta. Kapha being moisture, Vata being air, and Pitta being heat. And the yin and the yang are moisture and heat. They don't have the individual building block in their basic structure related to ethos, to air. And let me comment just for a moment, if you are wondering, ethos, air, what that you can understand yin and yang, heat and moisture. Air is another very interesting ethos. You probably know someone who is a very Vata person. A Vata person is very airy, almost ungrounded. They're very light. They enter a room almost as if they're just not floating, but very airy. So there are some people who are very Vata. And it's good to know what your type is, because then that will relate to some of your health issues, as well as what you should be eating diet-wise, the type of exercise, etc. So going back to yin and yang. Yin and yang, yin is the overall symbol for moisture and for nurturing. It is the cool, the damp, the darker side. Yang is the heat, the sun, and the brighter side. In herbal medicine, balance is the goal. If you already know a lot of this, you might want to skip the overview and just go to the individual segments, because you will recognize I will try to title them in ways that you will understand. And so I urge you to just skip the overview and go to the individual segments that are of interest. But if what I'm saying right now is fairly new to you, keep listening, and I'll try to explain a little bit better. Because these are sort of the fundamental parts of what Chinese and Ayurvedic medical herbalism are all about. Understanding how your physical system works from this standpoint, or at least grasping it a little, will help you understand what's going on in your body. And when you seek out help from a medical herbalist, that will help you determine what herbs to take, and it will guide you as you hear them in terms of what they are urging you to do. So, okay, backtrack. Yin and yang. Chinese herbalism. Yin, as I said, is the moisture, the dark. Yang's the heat. Balance is the goal. Why balance? Why does it matter? Basically, a person who's overly yin, too much moisture, too much dampness in their body, is usually overly heavy in their weight. They're very nurturing, but their system is bogged down. They get a lot of colds. They have a lot of mucus, and it can dampness and over moisture, over yin, can really cause breakdowns. The spleen has to work too hard to digest the food. It doesn't do well. The ligaments start to break down. They're tired. The muscles get tired. It's too much yin. And then the goal of a yin person is to recognize that and to start to stimulate the yang. In addition, and I'll go into these things more thoroughly in the individual segments, but I'm touching on these issues so you'll understand a little bit. In addition to, if you're yin, you want to increase your yang, the other thing that you can do is clear yin, clear dampness. Use dry herbs that help to dry up some yin. So it's a kind of dual approach. You clear and you increase. Now, with a yang person, and you probably know these people as well, they're usually very ruddy-cheeked. When they walk in the room, they usually have a very loud voice. They project very strongly. This is a person who's very yang. It's not a person who has a lot of balance. It's a person who is very yang and has, or in Tridosha, very pitta. A lot of heat. Now, the advantages of a lot of yang is they're usually can be very outgoing people, very strong speakers in that they project. They often, at least initially, gravitate to more leadership positions, but over time, they can be the type that really get on people's nerves because they're just too yang. They need to calm it down a little, not only for their social relations, but also for their physical needs. If you're a very yang person and you recognize this, or you have a spouse or a friend who's very yang, they should be encouraged to achieve more balance for their physical state. Balance will help protect the organs and help give you overall health, and you usually feel better. It's hard to put a value on feeling better, but balance does help you. Okay. So what causes something to be yin heat, or what causes something to be yang heat? What brings on too much yang, or what creates yang, and what creates yin? Well, a lot of different things do it. The diet, exercise, whether or not you have good energy flow in your body, good qi. Qi flow is very important. Stagnation can cause the buildup of heat. There are a number of things that can cause a person to be too yang or too yin, too pitta, too vata, too dosha. Dosha is the general equivalent of yin. So the first thing I wanted to just talk about a little, and then here again, in the individual segments, I'll go into this in greater depth. Food, what you eat, can really contribute to yang or yin. A yang person often, not always, because there are certain inherited things like inherited stagnation, inherited energy, meaning DNA, genetically born with. But food is a major contributor, almost always. Alcohol, certain types of drugs, not all drugs, some drugs are cooling. Certain types of drugs, alcohol, a lot of red meat. The person who barbecues a ton, you probably know that. I like barbecue. This has nothing to do with that. And okay, here I need to clarify. In Chinese and Ayurvedic herbalism, meat is a good thing. It's used to help nourish the blood. It's used to help retain a balance, build bones, that sort of thing. So meat is looked on very favorably, but in moderation. The person that eats too much red meat, lamb is very hot. Beef is not as hot, but it still creates can create problems in the liver and lead to stagnation if it's overly consumed. So red meat can be a real issue. Not as much chicken or fish. Eggs, if too much, can actually be semi-yang food. Spices, pepper, garlic, cayenne, cumin, spices, warming spices are excellent. But if consumed only, the person can become too pitta, excuse me, I'm thinking Ayurvedic, pitta, or yang. Walnuts, fenugreek, there are certain nuts and grains, there are veggies. So yang diet is important. For a cool person, you'd be surprised at things, well, you wouldn't be surprised at something. Salads are cooling. So are most fruits, especially fresh fruits. But salt is very cold. Sesame oil is cool. Spinach, cold. Swiss chard, cold. Mushrooms, cold. Wheat is fairly neutral, but on the cool side. So if you eat a lot of wheat products, carbohydrates, wheat, that also contributes to your yin side. It's cool. All those things are cooling. Now, as you listen to this, you can probably begin to conjecture, oh, if I eat some of the yang and some of the yin, then I can help create balance. Exactly. Diet is very important. But I will also be going on in the next part of this overview, segment 2. I will be going on with a description of segment 2, I want to talk a little bit more about diet, and I want to talk about the energy of foods, what's full, what's empty. Just touch on it. I won't go into it in great length. And then I will be moving into the other contributors to yin and yang, or to the Tridosha, ki stagnation, blood stagnation. So I will be talking about those. As a final point here for this one, I just want to also just mention exercise. In addition to diet, exercise really helps create the flow and helps the body digest food, and it's very important to helping achieve balance. So some form of exercise, whether it's walking, yoga, harder exercise, running, rock climbing, you name it. All those forms of movement really help contribute. So this is the end of segment 1 of the overview. Next week, I will be touching on the next section, as I mentioned. I hope you have a really good day, and we'll be continuing on. All right? Have a good one. This is Peggy Miller from Highland Winds LLC signing off. Bye.